I had messages waiting to be played. I had messages waiting to be played.
You have 3 messages.
Hey, Collard, it's me, your favorite editor. Guess what? I'm gonna give you a second chance. I need somebody to write the TV column. Pays lousy, so what's new? If you're interested, drop by the office. In fact, drop by the office anyway. We have to talk, Nico. That story of yours I spiked. It won't go away. You've made some dangerous enemies out there.
Hey, Nico, it's your old pal. I mean, your new pal, George. Whoa, Ireland. It's a whole different country. And I got some amazing news for you. Gem of a story, in fact. Oh, gotta go. Yeah, fella here's got a drink lined up for me. See you tomorrow, Nico. Slonsha. Yep, only here for a day and I'm speaking the lingo like a local.
Mademoiselle Coulard, this is Imelda Carchon. I wanted to thank you for being so understanding when... Come to lunch, why don't you? Tomorrow. I might have more news. There's a Monsieur Merlon coming to see me this evening. He says he knows why Pierre was murdered. In fact, he'll be here shortly. I shall let you know what he says. Goodbye, dear girl. Till tomorrow.
Merlin? Oh my God. Merlin's the killer. I better get over there and warn her now. When it came to being two-faced, Imelda was up there with the best. I owed her nothing, but I couldn't just let her die. I arrived to find the Palais Royal courtyard deserted. I only hoped that I'd beaten the assassin here. I had to warn Imelda before it was too late. Carchon's front door. There was a fresh scratch on the paint. The kind that's left when someone's picked the lock. If I was right, Imelda was getting a lesson from a mime artist. And it wasn't the old moving staircase routine. Locked? No way was I going to break through a door like that. A doorbell. The intercom system wasn't working. Bad sign. Somebody had cut the wire. If only I could get up to the window. That broken window looked like the best way in. It was held in place by wires. Maybe it wasn't art after all. Maybe it was a cell phone transmitter. People say, what's the point of modern art? I say, isn't it obvious? Fixed tight, presumably to stop critics stealing it. Who else would want to? Just your average modern art retaining wire. I unhooked the first wire. I released the second wire. Even with both wires removed, the statue remained upright. If I could deconstruct this, I could deconstruct anything. The plastic sheet was thick and strong. I'd need more than my hands to tear it. My God, I'm too late. Imelda. Oh no.
Nico?
Don't worry, you're going to be all right.
You know that isn't true.
It was Merlin, wasn't it? dressed as a cavalier. Absurd. You came to warn me, didn't you? I must be crazy. Let me see you, Nicole. All this time you were just using me. Which one is the real Imelda? You are an extraordinary girl. Thierry would have been so proud of you. You didn't know my father. So like him. Something about the eyes. I wish we'd had time to get to know each other. She was gone. She cheated me, lied to me, used me. But why? Even in death, Imelda looked the same. Beautiful, inscrutable. The Ice Queen alone in her ice palace. Around her neck was a locket. I opened it. Inside was a tiny gold key. I took the key. I had to leave. I knew I could never return. In the dim light, I caught the reflection of something metallic. A small, sinister-looking metal disc had been tucked under my father's box. It was a bug. Oh, chère cousine, you left me a little present. You shouldn't have. You don't scare me. Espèce de... The box was carved by my father. It never had a key. The elephant on the lid was a perfect match to Carchon's. I took out the key. I couldn't believe it. Imelda's key opened my father's box. I dreaded what I was going to find inside. It was a photograph of Imelda. But why here? In my father's box? I felt as if a black hole had swallowed me up. Imelda and Carchon grinning, while behind them a village was being razed to the ground, its people butchered. And there, next to them, staring out at me across the years, my own father. There was a letter. I feared there was even worse to come. Hotel St. Georges, Algiers, Friday. My darling Thierry, by the time you read this, you'll be safely out of Africa. You need not fear. Pierre and the organization do not know who you're really working for, or about us. Did you think I would betray you? I could not. You wanted me to leave him, but I don't have your courage. I know too much of what has been going on here. They would find me and they would kill us both. Enjoy your life in Paris, Thierry. Your life of honor, of patriotic duty. Do they give medals to spies? No, they'll just give you a funny job in an embassy somewhere. I could never share that with you. Imagine me, a diplomat's wife. So I must stay here with Pierre, the two of us bound together by what we have done to this country. Au revoir, my love. You will be in my heart until I die. Imelda. Suddenly everything made sense. My father had been working undercover for the government. He was one of the good guys after all. He and Imelda must have fallen in love. She'd found out who he really was, so he had to leave. It had broken her heart, but she had never revealed it to anyone. I knew I couldn't either. Whatever he was doing, he'd had good reason to keep it secret. I decided I would respect that and tell nobody. I knew it was George. For a moment I was tempted to pretend that I was out, or ask him to go away and come back later. But then... Come in.
Hello, George. So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with Doyle and a couple of the guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did it snow?
Hardly. He was dead. Then Leary woke me in the middle of the night to help bail out the cellar.
The cellar was flooded?
Yeah, some idiot had left the faucet running.
And you say Pegram has disappeared?
Without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
Pegram's gem?
The Templars' gem. Whoever Jacques Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man. Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah. Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's your problem, sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless junk like little boys.
You never know when useless junk might come in handy. That is not a good idea. No. Maybe not. No way. Do you want to look after the gem?
No, George. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
I can't sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobineau at the Kron Museum. And why don't you see if Rousseau has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
I so much wanted to talk to George about everything that had happened, but I knew I never could. My father's connection to Africa would have to remain a secret forever. His bravery would be known only to the government and to me. Revealing it would just damage his memory. People would take the story and twist it. Before long, he would be the villain and Carchon would be the hero. I know how they do that. I'm a journalist.
Sergeant Moo?
Yes.
I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No, he just grinned and nodded.
Don't let it trouble you, monsieur. Go home and try to forget.
I know the identity of the dead guy. His name was Plantou.
Is that so? You knew him, did you?
No, but
We'll know everything there is to know about him soon enough.
I'm trying to be helpful here.
The best way you can help us is to go home, monsieur.
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim. I've been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see. And where did this alleged assault take place?
Outside the Hotel Ubu. They stopped me as I was leaving and went through my pockets.
Could you describe the suspects, monsieur?
One looked like a gorilla, and the other looked like a weasel. Their names are Flap and Guido.
Bon. I'll get them this time.
Have you heard of a man called Marquet?
Yes. He used to be known as the Mole of Montmartre. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his rivals.
Which hospital was Marquet taken to?
The Hagenmeyer Clinic, in the Avenue des Hérissons.
Why was Marquet known as the Mole of Montmartre?
Because he lived in Montmartre. I suppose.
Yeah, but why the mole?
I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur.
He also calls himself Thomas Merlin.
I'm sorry, Monsieur Stobart. I don't know him. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
No. I found this red nose in the sewer.
What were you doing down there?
Fishing for clues. That's where the clown went.
You still insist you saw a clown, monsieur?
Of course. And this novelty nose proves it.
It will take more than a plastic proboscis to convince Inspector Rousseau.
You don't want this as evidence, then?
Certainly not, monsieur.
Do you recognize this dirty tissue?
No, monsieur, I do not.
I found it in the sewer.
Perhaps it would be better if you put it back there.
No way! This could be an important clue.
If you say so, monsieur.
Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
What do you suppose this tool is used for, Sergeant Moo?
It looks like something an obstetrician would use, monsieur.
I don't think so. I found it in that workman's toolbox.
Found it? I hope you did not steal it, monsieur.
Do I look like a common thief? He asked me to look after his hole and his belongings.
You certainly know how to enjoy your vacation to the fullest, monsieur.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you, Sergeant?
That's a double-lined Swedish with a crosshatch Bergman strike strip. Now, that's unusual. Pre-war Anderson hinging.
Really?
I haven't seen a reinforced Anderson outside of a private collection.
It's rare, then?
In this part of the world, yes. There are only 3 places these are made. Taiwan, Manila, and Slough.
No way. No. See you later, Sergeant. Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Really? If you wish to make an appointment, see the receptionist.
I'm looking for a guy named Jacques Marquet.
In which department does he work?
He doesn't. He's a patient.
I see. You do realize there are strict policies regarding visiting hours, don't you?
This is important. I have to talk to Marquet urgently.
We make no exceptions to the rules.
It's a matter of life and death.
The well-oiled running of this hospital is a matter of life and death. That's why we have rules.
I think I ought to warn you that Marquet is not what he seems.
Explain yourself.
He's in league with a bunch of guys who want to take over the world.
Nonsense. Besides, Marquet's employers have paid in advance for one of our most exclusive private rooms.
Could you tell me who Marquet's employers are?
Certainly not.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, sir, I do not.
Does this white powder mean anything to you?
No, sir, I do not pretend to know the pharmacist's job.
Do you recognize this red nose, sir?
No, I do not. This is a hospital, not a circus ring. We minister to the sick in body, not the sick in mind.
What do you make of this tissue, sir?
If I were you, I'd have the sample analyzed.
May I have the honor of shaking you by the hand?
You may not. I don't encourage physical contact between my staff.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
Sacre bleu! That's exactly what I needed in my last operation.
It is?
I had to improvise with a knitting needle and a couple of corks. If only you'd been on hand at the time. My patient would have given his right arm for it.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamat?
No, sir, I have not.
Does the name Thomas Merlin mean anything to you?
No, it does not.
Look at this, Doc. It's a genuine medieval type gemstone.
Yes, so I see. Remarkable.
I have to take this gem to Marquet. He might be able to explain its significance.
My dear chap, Marquet has other things on his mind right now.
Like what?
His catheter, for one.
Thanks for your help. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Is this the Hagenmeyer Clinic?
That's correct.
I thought I was in a garden center.
Oh, the plants. They were my idea. A little greenery to evoke the spirit of nature. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Jacques Marquet.
Oh, yes. Are you related to our client, sir?
No, I'm conducting a private investigation.
Then I can't help you.
So, do I get to see Marquet before the funeral?
That attitude will get you nowhere. My instructions were quite clear. No one gets to see Marquet. So unless you can prove you're a relative or a close acquaintance, you're wasting your time here.
Has Marquet been visited by a man in a clown costume?
Oh, no.
You haven't seen a man in disguise?
Well, there's Theodore the Bear. He comes every Thursday to entertain the children. Personally, I think he scares them half to death in that crummy old bear suit. If I was stuck on my back with tubes in every orifice, he's the last person I'd want to see.
Has Marquet had a visit from a pair of gangsters?
I should hope not. Can you describe them?
A thin guy who looks like a weasel and his friend, the gorilla.
Sounds as if they escaped from the zoo.
Have you seen this man here at the clinic?
No, sir. And I never forget a face.
Is this plaster any use to you?
I'm allergic to plaster.
What does this false nose remind you of?
Oh, it's a clown's nose.
Can you think of any use for this greasy tissue?
I guess you could use it to baste a roast turkey.
I'd like to shake you by the hand.
Don't be fresh, young man.
What does this tool suggest to you?
Is it a crack detector?
Huh?
Polar explorers use them to poke about in the snow.
Oh, no. Have you heard of the Club Alamat?
No. It sounds romantic, doesn't it?
Look at this ID pass.
So you're Merlin. Marquet's been asking for you.
For me?
Yes. He was shouting your name when they brought him in here. Now, let me see. He was on Ward B12, as I recall. Oh, he's being transferred to... Oh, dear. He's on Ward J2. That's Nurse Grendel's ward.
What does this gem suggest to you?
I advise you not to flash that around.
What's so bad about Nurse Grendel?
She runs that ward like a South American prison.
Keeping a well-disciplined ward isn't a crime, is it?
Well disciplined. In the discipline and punishment stakes, she'd whip the butt off the Marquis de Sade. Everything, I mean everything, is done to a strict routine. 6 o'clock alarm call, 6:10 bowel movements, and woe betide anyone who doesn't have a result. Those patients of hers are like Pavlova's dogs.
She sounds like a real nightmare.
And then some.
If Nurse Grendel is that bad, how come the authorities tolerate her?
She's like part of the furniture.
I was beginning to get the picture. This woman was jealous, with a big green capital J. How do I find Nurse Grendel's ward?
Down the corridor on the left, turn right at the senior consultant's washroom. Right again at the executive coffee lounge. Bear left past the administrator's sauna. and turn left at the end. That's J2. And good luck.
Thanks for your help, ma'am.
You're welcome.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corridors. It was an industrial polishing machine with an odd-looking guy in tow.
Oui, monsieur.
Is this Ward J2?
It is, but you're not supposed to be here. We have strict rules about visiting hours.
Can't you make an exception? I've come all the way from California.
You must speak to the doctor.
I can't wait that long. What if he snuffs it?
You can't talk like that here. This is a hospital. You will have to leave.
Hey now, you can't go in there.
How come?
I'm responsible for the contents of that cupboard.
Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what? If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
What's the problem with Nurse Grendel?
She's uptight and twisted on account of a broken heart.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought she was just plain bad-tempered.
That also. By the way, sir, I wouldn't stand too close to Mr. Shiny's grease valve. If he has an emission, it'll take the shine clean off your shoes. Say, nice sneakers.
Thanks. Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't, but I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny for 3 years, and he's never let me down once.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you? I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind me back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull-through.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's. What does this tissue suggest to you?
You have a cold. What you need is vitamin C.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I've washed, if you don't mind, sir.
Would this tool be any use to you?
No, sir. Mr. Shiny has no user-serviceable parts. Whatever that means.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never, ever play with matches.
I know that, but...
People get hurt when they do. They end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up, they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
Do you recognize this pass?
No, I don't. Should I?
No, but I wondered if you'd seen a stranger flashing it about.
No, sir. But if I had, Mr. Shiny would take care of him.
What do you think of this, Sam?
Oh, boy. What is it?
A priceless gemstone, found in a medieval castle in Ireland. Get me into Marquet's ward, and it's yours.
I don't wear jewellery.
If this gem was yours, you'd be able to buy 100 Mr. Shinies.
Don't be silly. There's only one Mr. Shiny.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
Excuse me, sir.
Aha! Just the man. You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bernie, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him? He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Yes, sir?
So what's your name, kid?
Benoit. They call me Bunny.
Bunny? Jeez, and you don't mind?
Oh, I've gotten used to it.
Okay, Benoit, you're gonna help me.
Anything you say, sir.
Do you know anything about a patient named Marquet?
No, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Shut up, Benoit.
Okay, sir.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. I've never seen him before.
Do you know what this white powder is?
No, sir.
Does this false nose mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Is that a nasal discharge, sir?
No, it's grease paint. Shake my hand, Benoit.
I don't think that's a good idea, sir.
How come?
Dermatitis.
I don't have dermatitis.
I do.
What does this tool suggest to you?
Isn't that used to snap the patient's ribs when exploring the abdomen?
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No, sir.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Merlin?
No, sir.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
Not me, sir.
Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Good afternoon, doctor. The patients are ready for your inspection, doctor.
Thank you, nurse.
You'll need this, doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks.
Could you take a look at the client in bed number 3 now? His name is Eric Sopmarsh.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good. Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
Why is Marquet in quarantine?
If you wish to know more, you'll have to speak to Herr Hagenmeier. All I know is that Marquet's room is strictly out of bounds.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Is this plaster any use to you?
No, it isn't.
Do you recognize the man in...
No.
Do you recognize this tissue?
No, I don't. It looks like a chronic health risk to me.
Well, I've been carrying it around for days and I'm okay. Would you like to shake hands with me?
Well...
No, it's okay. Forget it. Does this tool mean anything to you?
I don't recognize it.
Does this mean anything to you?
The Club Alamut? I've never heard of it.
Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
What is this device?
It's for taking the patient's blood pressure, doctor.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
It's beautiful, but I've never seen it before.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Doctor!
What is it?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Of course I am.
No, you're not. Dr. Monroe never did it like that.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later. Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something. Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Oh, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No, this was a tatty old bear.
How was the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, doc, right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I have never seen him before.
Can you think of any sensible use for this plaster?
Sensible? No. Puerile? Yes, but you've probably thought of those already.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Don't get cute with me.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
It looks as if it has been used to wipe Satan's bottom.
I hate to say it, but you could be right. Would you like to shake hands?
What for?
As a gesture of goodwill.
On reflection, no.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Branding mice without bending down.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No. It sounds Middle Eastern.
Are you Thomas Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No.
Then you won't be needing this. Do you recognize this gem?
It isn't an emerald, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, Doc.
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassin.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grandmaster. Quickly tell him that I have found the tripod. Right here in Paris.
You have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them as for Klausner. He has gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeier was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
Hello, Georges.
That is not a good idea. I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window. Have you ever heard of the Hashi-Ashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again. Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rosso or Sergeant Moo? Oh, but you're referring to Andre.
I'll let you work it out.